Welcome to the Practice You podcast. My name is Elena Brower. Together, we'll explore and enjoy content and conversations around mastering transitions in our relations, our wellness, our careers, our families, and especially in our missions and visions. You are invited to learn and love and listen with me. Welcome to Practice You. Welcome back to the podcast. I have with me a pandemic friend. Do you have a pandemic friend? This is one of my favorite pandemic friends. I have a few that I've made, but this one shines. His name is Owen Headley. He is a trainer. He's a newly certified 200-hour registered yoga teacher. He's an outspoken social activist. He's a happily married father of 4. And he's also on the lecture circuit, and he speaks about his battles with depression, anxiety. He's recently been working on helping Black men recognize and address their depression and anxiety, which I think cannot be a story that cannot be overtold. We need so much more of this in our world. And he's also, fascinatingly, the fitness instructor of Instagram. He has over 140,000 followers at this recording, and he gives workouts almost every day. And if you want to go look at him right now while you listen to us, you will put into your little search field up there, letter O, his last name Headley, Headley, fitness, O Headley Fitness. And you will be so pleased to see the earnest nature of this gentle, giant soul. I love you so much, Owen, and welcome to the podcast.
That was very humbling. Thank you very much, my dear friend.
Of course.
When I was listening to you talk, I actually had to chuckle. I actually, even though they feel like 4, I actually have 2 children.
Why? How come it says father of 4 on this thing that I'm reading? That's so funny.
I might, I don't know, but you know what? It is like 4 anyway, because we're a family of 4. But
right.
Thank you so.
That's probably what you were thinking.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm humbled, and what a way to start a discussion with such beautiful words. And I mean, I can't say enough about this friendship that we forged during these crazy times. And it's funny because in times that are so dark and such despair, to form a beautiful friendship like this gives me hope that there is going to be a better tomorrow. So we will get there. It's just going to take some time.
I think that's true. I would love to begin. I don't like to keep you for too long, but I would love to begin with your story that you wrote to me specifically and said you're willing to talk about this journey that you went through with depression and anxiety. I would love to hear your story and tell us anything you think our listener would need to understand in order to A, know who you are, B, really realize the sensation of your intention, and C, maybe even be inspired to move in a similar direction.
Absolutely. And yes, I'm very willing to discuss my personal battles with anxiety and depression. And I feel it's necessary to do that. So when I am trying to teach and educate others, they know that it's coming from a place that's personal. It's a struggle every day. Every day I say is day one. And the very first thing that we have to do as people to address these issues is to acknowledge that they're actually happening. It can no longer be taboo because there are a lot of people who are suffering in silence, if you will. And the more people that speak out about what they're going through, we have it's a correlation of being able to speak out, diagnose it, and most importantly, treat it, whether that be through the medicinal route that some people go through. A lot of people go through spiritual healing. A lot of people go through essential oil healing, and I'm a fan of all three of them. My belief is that what's ever going to make that person get to the right track was good. So as far as it goes with me, I was suffering from an illness that was very I won't use the word life threatening. I'd say the word more like eye opening to me. And there were some treatments that came with that. And during the treatment, I really started to feel just withdrawn. It was just strange because I'm a very outgoing person. I found myself not returning phone calls, being so lazy as to not even returning a text message. And my pattern became either the doctor in home or working home when I felt strong enough to work. And I became withdrawn from people. I was just down. I was in a funk, and I really didn't know what was wrong with me. And in all honesty, I just correlated the way I was feeling with what I was dealing with on the medical end of it, and just thought I was feeling sorry for myself. And in some ways I was being selfish because I felt that if it was me feeling sorry for myself, that I have every right to do that. And that's just the absolute wrong thing to do when you're dealing with those type of struggles. So one day, Elena, I knew when I was going to leave this planet. It was not even an afterthought anymore. So what I did after work, it's funny to even go before like that day, like the day before, I was very, it was different. Like when I had decided that that was going to happen, I was in a better mood, believe it or not, if you will. And the day of, I said goodbye to people. It wasn't, the regular, like when you're not going to see someone again, the hug and the cries and stuff. It was just regular goodbyes, like it was a regular work day, and I was fine. So when I got out of work, I drove to the local liquor store and I bought a big bottle of Captain Morgan Spice rum. Drove back to my house, and the medication that I was taking for my treatments, I decided that I was going to take that medicine, all of it, and wash it down with this bottle of Captain Morgan Spice rum that I had just purchased. And it was going to happen. And it's very, very, very eye opening to me as to how, without even knowing it, people can have perfect timing. So I'm sitting in my spare bedroom, and I have the lights off, and I'm sitting there, and I have my cup, and I'm ready to go. And as I said earlier on, I was ignoring phone calls and ignoring text messages. But then my phone went off, and it was very strange. I don't know what possessed me to look at my phone at that exact moment, but I did. And the text message said, "Hey, haven't talked to you in a long while. Give me a call. Been trying to call. Just, shoot me a note or give me a call and let me know you're okay." And it was from my mom.
Oh,
And then I got another text message, and the text message that said, "Hey, listen, I know that you and I aren't seeing each other anymore, and for whatever your reasons are that you don't want me in your life, I understand. But I just want you to know," and it was these three words that changed my life, Elena. "I just want you to know you are loved." And that was
oh
from the woman who was
gosh.
now my wife and the mother of my two children.
Hmm.
And without knowing it, my mother and my wife, two of the most important people, the most important women, right? Not even just women, people in general in my life, saved my life without even knowing it. So that night
Wow.
was a very, very tough night. I reminisced about a lot of things. I reminisced about friends that I've had and lost, people that have, family members that have, long left this earth. I laughed, I cried. I did a lot more crying than laughing. And then I looked up, and it was daytime. Remember, the lights were off, so the
Right.
the room was illuminated by the sun, and it was the next day, and I was still alive. And it was at that point that I decided that life is worth living. If not for
Hmm.
yourself, think about the people you would be leaving behind. Those people that say those three words to you all the time: you are loved. and I changed my life. And I started to rethink and refocus on what I could do to get out of this rut that I was in. So the very first thing I did was I went to the barbershop and got a haircut because I hadn't done that in a long time and I looked kind of scruffy. And then I got into a car, and this is something I'm never a fan of doing, just because of the way that I was raised. You don't ever show up at someone's house uninvited. I showed up at my now wife's house uninvited. I apologized to her for excommunicating her out of my life, and we've been together ever since. And now you're talking about maybe 10 years. And married for 7, together for about 10. And I
Wow.
told her this story.
How old are your babies?
My oldest daughter is 5, and my youngest is 19 months. So I started late in the game. I'm 44. I started a little late in the game. But what I had decided was, if someone like me, who I feel I have a very strong, bold, outgoing personality, could get to a point where the life that God gave him wasn't worth it anymore, and I could somehow dig my way out of that hole, one, I want to try to help people do that as well. And two, I'm certain that I'm not the only person that has been through that. And I decided that I needed to go to a doctor. I was diagnosed with clinical depression and anxiety. I was given a lot of things that, um, pamphlets and all types of things to do, therapy, which I've done and continue to do. And I just decided that I was going to just be okay. And that leads into what it is that I've decided to dedicate most of my life to, and that's yoga and fitness. Because when I was going through these treatments, I couldn't lift. I I was very weak to lift weights, and my doctor had recommended yoga. Now, being a manly man, with that type of foolish mentality, I was like, well, yoga is the stereotypical, you're a tall, skinny, blonde woman, which is so far from the truth that it's lost, that I was like, it's just not me. But I decided to give it a try. And when I walked in there and I saw this like mosaic of people, big and small, black and white, men and women, it wasn't even the postures that opened me up. It was just the presence of it, and just the feeling, the sense of accomplishment that I did something that I've never done before with a group of people I don't even know. So before that day, I had decided I was going to take my life. The only reason I was still living was because of yoga. So in some ways, Elena, yoga saved my life as well. And I decided that I was going to dedicate myself to helping people deal with their challenges from a mental illness perspective by giving free workouts, learning yoga along the way with the people on Instagram. And that's when I created Owen Headley Fitness. And what I wanted the platform to be, because there's so much negativity on social media, I wanted my platform not to really be about me. I wanted it to be about other people and recognizing them for what they're doing on their platforms to help inspire and motivate others. So that really became the whole structure of how I wanted O Headley Fitness to be. The workouts to me are obviously important, and those are always going to be on there. But it's the recognition of people who are, one, suffering the same struggles that I suffer, and two, are using their platforms to help other people better themselves. And it became, from my first follower, who was my wife, and 143,000 people later. It's an amazing and humbling accomplishment that I cannot thank myself for. The support and the people, yourself included, has been astronomical, and it helps even more now. And all this stuff, ironically, kind of correlates together: the mental illness and using fitness and yoga, meditation to address it, and then going on social media. So now I have a bigger platform to help address and recognize and discuss those issues and get my word out to a bevy of people, not only just nationally but globally. It's humbling, and it's just been an experience that I can't even tell you how just enlightening it's been to do stuff like this.
I'm just so proud of you, the clarity that you have since that moment. um, it's almost like I can feel the energy of you opening your eyelids that morning and everything being different. And all the things that you did over the course of that morning, haircut, visit her, talk to her, woo her, whatever you did, all of it comes together in this mosaic of healing.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, and it's just the best gift that my mother ever gave me was the gift of life. And
Mm.
our lives are always going to have ups and downs along the way. If life was perfect, everybody would be rich, everybody would be married, and everybody would be happy. And it just doesn't work that way. That's just not reality. And I had to learn that a setback is only the beginning of your comeback, if that makes any sense. And I look at my setbacks now and I use those as the motivation for me to make my comebacks. And the platform that I use and the things that I'm discussing, most notably mental health when it comes to Black men, which has been it's a untapped resource as far as addressing these issues in the Black community when it comes to men. And it wasn't until I realized myself that I had to, deal with my challenges, that there were other African American men, and especially in a society like we're living in today, that have these challenges. And either one, they don't know it, or two, just because it can be in people's minds a sign of weakness, we have to be able to address those issues and feel comfortable with who we are. And that was the very first thing that I had to do. Like when the doctor told me that I had depression and anxiety, I had to be comfortable with that. I had to know that when I go to the bathroom, when I go on vacation, when I go to the gym, anxiety and depression is coming with me. I have to be comfortable in knowing that I have that, but I also have to know that with that comfort level, there has to be a everyday step one way to address that. And that's what I'm trying to help other people do.
So let's say we have a listener right now who is exactly where you were that night, exactly where you were, just on the brink, ready to call in the whole thing and be done with this world. What's the first thing, if you could sit down next to them, what's the first thing that you would say?
If I could sit down next to a person that was where I was, I would say the three words that my wife said to me to kind of get me back on track. You are loved. And they may not see that at the exact moment, but they are loved. And it may not even be by someone that they know. They just need to know that there is always going to be a tomorrow and you are loved. And those three words, especially the word in the middle, is a powerful word. You is a powerful word because you means yourself, and you need to always acknowledge and love yourself. And those would be the first three words that I said. And I would hope that those words would be as impactful as they were to me when I read that on that text message that night.
Yeah. And secondly, if that person said to you, you know what, I feel that, thank you very much, but I'm still kind of done with this whole enterprise, is there anything that you could or would say, or does your heart speak at all in this moment to counter their wish? Or do you feel like, okay, it's their right to leave and be done with this? Like, what's the point? Where's the line where you respect somebody's desire to end their life versus where you try and convince them that this is actually worth it?
Well, for me, there is no line per se to just tell someone or show someone that their time on this planet should come to an end. I don't have a line, but my counter would be when that person says, "I hear what you're saying. I'm loved. Nice words, very impactful, but I still can't do it." The very first thing I would ask them to do is tell me what's wrong. Maybe you don't have someone to talk to. Maybe there's some things that are bottled up that you just probably need to get out. before you decide you want to leave this earth and give back the gift that your mother gave you, what's wrong? Let's address it. And maybe it's something that may be monumental to you, but it may be something that I can solve with a phone call or a text message or an email. So that would be my counter all the time. There's always another way. There's never not
Mm.
another way. Life is too precious to give up on it, just because there are some minor, some major bumps in the road. So my counter to that would be there's always another way.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Since then, you've, you obviously got together with your woman. She's so beautiful and
Oh,
sweet.
inside and
My
outside.
God, I feel. You have these two beautiful, beautiful
Thank
babies.
you. Thank you.
You create content almost every day. And I think the question that might be on our listener's mind right now, if he or she or they were to ask you a few questions, um, what is your relationship to social media and how do you keep it on the level that you clearly have it, which is this is a vehicle by which I'm able to offer nourishment to people who might be suffering and or enthused to work with me. How do you manage that relationship?
The relationship with social media is kind of a love hate one, but I would say 80% love and 20% hate. And I only use that word hate because that's what a lot of things that I've seen lately on social media. But my balance with it is that I manage my time. Nothing ever comes before my family, and I manage my time. I use the time that I would normally be working out on my own to just do the workout that I'm going to do that day, and I can either create the workout videos, save them for later, doctor them all up, whatever I need to do with music and stuff like that, and I could either hit send, or I can do them later. So basically, how I manage it is just really understanding that although it's something that's important to me, it can't be the only thing that I do to not only occupy my time but to get my messages out. It's a fighting force and it's huge of what I need to accomplish as far as some of the goals that I need to achieve. But I also have to remember that there are going to always be naysayers. There are always going to be people who are going to try to detract you from doing the things that you want to do. So for me, managing it is very simple. It's really cool when you have a phone or iPad or a laptop. When you don't want to do it, you can just put it down. You can take a break from it, and you can cleanse your soul and heal your mind. And it's gonna be there when you come back. And the people who truly support you, whether you post every day, you post once a month, or you post once a year, they're gonna be there to support you, and they're gonna understand that there are some times where, although part of my life goal is to help others, I still have to take a step back and clear my head and help myself. So I manage it as a rolling business. It's a business where it doesn't have to be open every day, but when it's open, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I feel similarly about it.
Yeah, I mean, and you being someone who has, you know, been in the face of social media for a long time, even before it became this thing that it was. I'm sure that you can relate to what I'm saying, where you have those days where you just gotta put all the stuff away and just really just decompress and remember why you're really here.
Yeah. Well, that's the only way you actually have, I hate the word authentic, but I'm trying to find another one. That's the only way you have authentic content to share. Your real experience comes when you're not actually sharing as well.
Right.
So I appreciate that explanation very much. So now let's go to this priority that you've placed on your family, which I really respect, and I would love to unpack that a little bit for our listener. When you say that they come first, can you talk to us about? I know this is so kind of corny, but I get asked it often and I always think it's funny and then I get into it. What's a typical day in the life of my friend and brother Owen?
Oh man. In all honesty, if somebody walked around and followed my family and I with a camera, you probably wouldn't get much content that you would want to put on TV and that people would watch. But and I say that jokingly because it's a normal thing. It's part of my release. Like a normal day in my house is really watching Scooby Doo and Sesame Street with my 5-year-old, playing zombie with my 5-year-old, and now my 19-month-old who can walk, and really just being a dad. Like the one thing that I love more than anything on this planet is being a father. I love being a father. I love being a hands-on father. I'm not the stereotypical, well, when I come home from work, dinner better be on the table and the house better be clean. When I come home from work, I'm the one that likes to make the dinner, most of the time. I like playing with the kids. I like cleaning the house. I just like being hands on. My wife, who's my superhero and the person I admire so much, during this crazy pandemic, works from home, takes care of our infant child, and had to make sure that my daughter, when school was virtual, was paying attention. And she's a superhero. So when I come home, I want to take those duties and those responsibilities and be a dad. So a day in the life in the Headley house, it's loud. I will tell you that it's very loud.
I
There's a lot of
like
dancing.
that.
My daughters and my
Mm-hmm.
wife and I love to dance. They actually dance
Mm.
better than I do. Um, and there's a lot of love. Sometimes there's tough love, but there's a lot of love. There's a lot of laughing. It is so engaging. Whereas if you were to walk into my house right now, my wife would say to you, have a seat, obviously, and then you'd say, hey, would you mind if I had a drink of water? She'd be like, yep, the refrigerator's right there, go get it. You just become family. We're just an
Right.
engaging, loving family. And we're corny, like a lot of families are, I'm probably the corniest one. I still like doing family dress ups for Halloween where we all dressed in the same type of genre. It's nonstop fun, and it's also nonstop learning. I'm learning stuff
Mm.
from my children every day. I'm learning stuff from my wife every day on how to be not only just a better husband and a father, but just a better Owen. And living my life through their eyes sometimes is just so rewarding.
Yeah. So beautiful. I feel like there's a world of the most simple yet most potent teaching just from you living your life
Yes,
on a daily basis with so much intention, and you're just so thankful, like you almost lost it all. And that's kind of where my heart is touched by listening to you and talking with you, and we've done some small things together, and every time I always walk away feeling like the colors are a little brighter.
I appreciate that, and it's people like you that give life its meaning to me, and I say that very genuinely because when you look at life, you know, people are always growing. You appreciate, a person for the value that they add into your life. You appreciate a flower because you know that a flower one day is going to grow, but it's not going to be there. A stone is always going to be there. So
Mm.
I appreciate the things in my life that give not only just my life, but give life in general its meaning. And you are one of those people that give my life and give the life of other people its meaning. And
Plus.
it's an inspiration to me, and so many I'm sure can say the same thing when I
Mm.
watch your Instagram lives and cry with you, like I'm in the room when you're shaving your hair because your friend is going through cancer. I felt like I'm in that moment. I'm already bald headed,
Mm.
but I tell you right now, I would have shaved my head in unison if I could be there. And those are the things to me that give me my meaning and make me feel good when the people that I know who add value to my life are adding value to other people's lives. And that's just a beautiful thing to me.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Is in closing, I have a few questions, and every now and again I ask them of my guests, and sometimes I don't. But I want to ask these four questions of you because I think you'll really enjoy them and find them interesting and inspiring, perhaps. The first is, what is your favorite view? And this can be from within, without, a place, a time. What's your favorite view?
My favorite view is actually a place that I have not been to in a long time, but I still have a mental picture of it. There's a place in Beverly, Massachusetts. I used to live, my very first apartment. I was actually homeless for a while. And then my very first apartment was this one room where you shared the bathroom with like 40 people. And I'm from New York City, originally from Queens, and I'm living in Massachusetts after college. And there was this beach called Dane Beach in Beverly, Massachusetts. And I would walk to this beach because it was only maybe a stone throws away from the building that I lived in. And they had this, it was like this little rock path where if you sat at the edge of it, you would be right over the ocean. And I would just stare at the boats go by, and it was a lighthouse there. And it was a happy place for me. And it didn't make me as homesick as I was. It actually made me feel more comfortable being on my own and doing what I was doing to progress in life. So my favorite view would be the view from Dane Beach in Beverly, Massachusetts. And if I was an artist, I would sketch it because it's just it's nothing special. The another person would look at it and be like, okay, it's a water, a boat, and a lighthouse, like, whatever. But for me, it was something that actually kept me. Um, it kept me sane when I felt alone.
Right. It's such a clear view for me. Thank you for being so descriptive. Um, the second is, what's something in your world or in our world, shared world, that needs healing right now?
Wow, you got 4 hours.
Yeah,
um,
we've talked about this personally, offline a lot. I know.
yes, I think we as a people need to listen. The very first thing, and I'm going to put probably a couple of things into one just big learning bubble. We need to listen to people, and we need to appreciate people, whether it be appreciating your fellow man or fellow woman, appreciating someone because of their race and acknowledging their culture, appreciating someone for who they are, not for who they love. And in the past year and a half, I've seen and unfortunately from people that I've known, 20, 30 years, I've seen the ills and ugliness of hate and racism really just rear its ugly head in ways that I only heard about in stories from my grandmother. And I feel like what needs to change is the mindset of people. I think a lot of people, and you could agree with me or not if you so choose to. A lot of people really hate and are afraid of things that they either don't identify with or don't understand.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I had to teach myself was if I was going to truly understand and speak out against these hateful times and social acceptance and racism, Asian hate, we can go down the line. It's everywhere, unfortunately. I have to learn what that actual hate is. It's very easy to speak about how I feel about unity and love, but I have to understand the hate end of it as well. So I had to educate myself on some things that I felt were I guess quote unquote hateful things. I had to read Mein Kampf by Adolf Hitler. I had to read the Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx. I had to watch documentaries about these people, whether it be Adolf Hitler or Charles Manson and everybody in between. I had to learn what went on or went wrong in their lives that led them to be the people who, when we talk about faces of evil and hate, they become those faces. And I had to learn about that in order to be able to speak out against it and to have healthy conversation about it. I had to really understand it. And
Right.
I think that is one of the biggest things that the world needs to change. The world needs to start listening learning and working towards understanding the stuff that they don't know.
The idea of learning the background of the people who have been the most destructive in our history and seeing where they suffered, why they became what they became, is something that no one else has ever said here. And I really appreciate that you brought that out. And I do agree with you. I think that if more time were spent sort of understanding the source of pathologies, the world would be probably a much better place.
I agree 100%.
Yeah. And last one, it's only 3 questions. I don't know why. For some reason, I said 4. You said 4 before by mistake too.
Yeah, I know.
Both of us. It's so weird.
Maybe
But
maybe
they're
that's a hint
really,
to my wife that I want 2 more.
listen, I'm all for it. Your babies are beautiful.
Thank you.
Um, gosh. The third question and final question, really. What does prayer mean to you?
That's a great question. It means a lot of different things. I think that the normal thought process as to what prayer is, being over your bed on your hands and knees and saying your prayers to the man upstairs. To me, it's not just that. That's a small part of it. I think prayer is also something that can be mental. I feel like we pray every day. We may not say, I pray for so and so, but I think that prayer is also just acknowledgement of people's well being. I feel like if you send me a text message saying, or shoot me a phone call saying, hey, how you doing? That makes me feel like, I'm in your thoughts. I'm in your quote unquote prayers, and I'm a priority in your life. So I think prayer is also priority, prioritizing the things that you feel are important, and making, especially when it comes to people, making those people feel important, feel needed, and feel wanted. And prayer is also something that's emotional. You know, I think that when it comes to my relationship with my wife, I think that that is a prayer. It's a very emotional, sentimental feeling. It's not words. It's not kneeling on my hands or anything like that. It's just an energy. Prayer is also energy. It's an energy that you feel towards someone that nobody can really understand. You probably can't even explain it yourself, but it's just there. So I
Hmm.
feel like praying most of the time, obviously we do have our regular prayers, but I think praying it's an energy.
Yes.
I'm a Star Wars buff, so please forgive the analogy. I feel like
Hey, me too. All
I'm
of us. Oh my God, that's so funny.
yeah, I'm a huge Star Wars geek,
I
like
had no
huge.
idea.
And I always compare like praying to like the force. and
Yes.
and that's what it is. Praying is the force. It surrounds us,
Yes.
it binds us, and it holds the universe together.
Dude, first of all, you need to talk to my son's father, Anthony. We are such Star Wars freaks beyond.
Yes, I'm
But second of
really,
all,
really, really Star Wars geek. Really.
I love, and we're actually right around the same age, so that makes sense. But the coolest, there were 3 things I want to point out what you just said. One is the prayer being the sort of prioritizing of somebody and reaching out to them, that the concept of that outreach, a phone call, a text, an email, whatever, as a prayer, what a beautiful way to think about this. That's
Thank
one.
you.
My God. 2, prayer as obviously the energy that surrounds us, and then to get more refined, the force with a capital F. Wow. Like, thank you for that. I'm never not going to think of it like this anymore.
Thank you.
Yeah,
It's the force. It surrounds us,
it's the
binds us,
force.
and holds the universe together.
Jesus. I wanna thank you so much. The sweet, what do I want to say? Knowing you is like a sweet remembrance of the best parts of humanity's potential.
Thank you. I I
Yeah.
I appreciate that, and I want to say to you, if I can, just in closing,
Hmm.
thank you for taking the time to reach out to me that day and call me. I will tell you that I knew who you were before you knew who I was for obvious reasons. And when I heard your name, I had this glow about me. And when we spoke, it wasn't like, wow, Lena Bra was calling me. It was like, oh, it's my homegirl calling me. Like we talked on the phone
You
like we knew each other for years, and you supported me through
did.
my certification classes
Yes.
and just so many other things. And um, I'm grateful for it, and not to mention that you've also supported my badass yogi campaign, and
Yes,
it, it,
sir.
it means a lot to me to have a friend like you in my life, and it's something again that even though we're on opposite sides of the country, we were always going to be together in love.
Yes. Yes. It's so true. Let's close with just a quick description of your Badass Yogi campaign because I do feel that that has reached far and wide, and I think it's important for folks to understand the point of that. What's your intent?
Well, the reason why I started it was during my 200-hour course. It was myself, my instructor, and two other people who have become like a brother and sister to me. And one day we were just talking. I'm like, you guys are a bunch of badasses. And we were just joking around. So one day I was online and I just typed in the word badass yogi and I saw the shirt. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to ask them their sizes. I'm a t shirt fanatic, love t shirts. I have thousands of them. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to send them these shirts. So it started out with myself buying one and sending it to my instructor and to my two fellow classmates. And then I thought about it for a minute, and I was like, you know what? This Owen Headley fitness thing is really cool, and it's really great to recognize people for the things that they're doing, and that's a beautiful thing. But what can I do from a personal perspective just to say thank you for not only inspiring me but just thank you for being you. So I started to go back in time and look at the people who have supported me from day one when I started my Instagram page up until the last person that clicked follow. And there was a ton of people that I can go back and look at who did that and help inspire me. And when I don't want to work out, what would this person do? Or if I'm doing yoga, would this person think this was safe? So I started reaching out to people and I started saying to them, hey, you know what? I'm starting this thing called the Badass Yogi Tribe and I want you to be in it. And the very first thing, was asked was like, yeah, that's cool. What's the premise of it? You're like, what I need to do? I just need your t-shirt size and I need your address. If you don't feel comfortable giving me your address, I can give you the link to buy the shirt and I'll send you the money. I don't want money for it because this is my way of saying thank you for inspiring me. So 95 people later, we have a global community of people who are wearing these shirts. And it's not only just people who are into yoga. So the badass yogi thing means it's a universal thing. Yoga to me, out of any other type of fitness and just any kind of bodily improvement, of self improvement, it's universal. Yoga doesn't care if you're black. Yoga doesn't care if you're gay. Yoga doesn't care if you're big. Yoga doesn't care if you're small. Yoga could care less if you're transgender. Yoga doesn't even really care about anything except for the fact that yoga is just trying to help you be a better you. So the reason why I chose yogi was because yoga is universal and it brings so many people of different races and different types of life together. And I just started sending the shirts out, and the shirts are free. It's people who inspire me, and we've gone as far as New Mexico to you, all the way out to Canada, to India, to Italy. It's been a fun thing, and it's something I'm very passionate about. And people might sit there and ask why do you send out these free shirts? Don't they cost money? And I guess the only answer I would have to that is why not?
And what I love about it the most is that it really actually reflects what you've just said. There is no boundary. Anyone, you're welcoming anyone who reaches out to you. It's such a reflection of your commitment to sort of unity and solidarity. It's so sweet.
Thank you, and it's very important to me. And in all honesty, it makes me happy when I see a person wear that shirt and wear it with pride, and
Yes.
to think that a total stranger would send you a shirt just because he appreciates what you do, if that makes a
Mm,
person happy for 5 minutes, then I think it's worth it.
totally. Totally. I want to thank you for your commitment to other people. I want to thank you for your commitment to your family. I want to thank you for your commitment to the practices of yoga, to healing our bodies, to strengthening our bodies. Every aspect of what you do is felt and seen and really, truly appreciated, Owen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lena. I appreciate being here, and I love you very much. And
Same.
please give my best to your beautiful family. And
I will
I
do
know
the
we will
same.
talk soon, my friend.
For sure. Anything you need, I'm right here.
Thank you. You as well.
Bye, my sweet.
Bye, hon.